Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us this week. This is from the CBN. I am William Dada. The pyramids are back. Yes, you heard right. And I'm not talking about the food pyramid, though it has to do with food. Neither am I talking about the Egyptian pyramid, though it dots the landscapes of a number of our cities, inspiring hope and bringing back memories of the good old days for those who can relate. Just like we had the groundnut pyramids back in the days, rice pyramids are now building up in parts of the country. We'll tell you more about the return of the pyramids in a bit. But first, let's bring you up to speed with the news highlights from the Central Bank of Nigeria this week. The Central Bank of Nigeria has provided additional operational guidelines for the receipt of diaspora remittances to restrain a few operators who continued to pay remittances in local currency, contrary to earlier regulatory directive. In a circular to international money transfer operators, IMTOs, and payment service providers on Wednesday, the CBN has directed that switches and processors should immediately stop all local currency transfers in respect of foreign remittances through IMTOs, while mobile money operators are required to immediately disable wallets from receipt of funds from IMTOs. A central reporting portal for all foreign remittances to be managed by the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System is currently underway to improve visibility of foreign remittance flows. The CBN has notified the general public that two operators, namely Azimo and TransferWise, are not licensed by the bank to operate as international money transfer operators. In a disclaimer issued on Wednesday by the Corporate Communications Department, the CBN said its attention has been drawn to the unauthorized activities of both companies and therefore advised the public to desist from patronizing them forthwith. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has reiterated the bank's commitment and that of the Bankers Committee towards growing the fashion industry in the country. In his keynote address at the Arise Fashion Week on Sunday, Emefiele said the Apex Bank is aware that a growing creative industry will also support the growth of other sectors such as logistics, financing services, construction, and legal sectors.
So far, the Central Bank of Nigeria, through its intervention program, has disbursed almost 3 billion naira to over 262 projects in the creative sector to support entrepreneurship among our youths. Growth in the creative industry space has been limited by smuggling of textiles and garments into Nigeria. We are engaged in efforts to limit the smuggling of textile materials into the country. So far, our measures are yielding fruits as smugglers of textile materials are being restricted from utilizing the Nigerian financial system to support their nefarious activities.
And that's the news.
Up until a few years ago, Nigeria produced far less than it consumed, spending up to $22 billion annually on importation. Then came the import policy by the federal government. Now, to survive, the nation must learn to be self-sufficient. And so far, we are on the verge of achieving this through the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders in support of local farmers and efforts of value chain entrepreneurs. Now, the goal of creating 10 million jobs in 5 years through 10 commodities is gradually being actualized. Let's buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Welcome back. This is from the CBN. Since the launch of the Ankabaraz program by President Muhammadu Buhari in Kebbi State 5 years ago, rice has remained the focal crop under the program in realization of the crucial role of rice as a major staple in the diet of average Nigerians. With a population of more than 200 million people, Importation of any major food item will continue to drain the country's external reserves, export jobs to countries where those food items are produced, and distort the commodity value chains as raw materials will not be readily available for agro-allied companies. The Central Bank of Nigeria is leading this revolution because its economic and financial policies will amount to nothing if the volatility of food prices is not addressed. This next special report tells us more.
There was a time in Nigeria's proud history when groundnut pyramids graced the skyline of prominent cities, notably Kano, in ways similar to how the Great Pyramids of Giza add splendor to the horizon of Egypt. Due to incidents of drought, viruses, and the near-total neglect of the agricultural sector, the pyramids all but disappeared, except in history books. The residential houses that now stand where these pyramids once stood are a sad reminder of how our economic prowess has ebbed. The question has even been asked, can the Great Pyramids of Kano be revived and replicated across other states in Nigeria? Thanks to the interventions of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, under its Ankabaraz program in the agricultural sector, the answer is a resounding yes.
That is why I have high hopes about the prospects of the CBN's Ankabaraz program and its potentials to create millions of jobs and lift thousands of smallholder farmers out of poverty.
In line with the CBN's developmental initiative, the bank introduced the Ankabaraz program. The Ankabaraz program is designed to create economic linkages between farmers and processors, not only to ensure increased agricultural output of rice and wheat, but also close the gap between production and consumption by ramping up capacity utilization in our integrated mills.
Following the bumper harvest from the 2020 wet season, in spite of incidents of insecurity, the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, and flooding, pyramids of rice are springing up in the horizon of Minna, Niger State, with over 5 million metric tons of rice paddy expected from 1 million hectares. With the dry season setting in, proceeds from this harvest will be redistributed to farmers for the next planting season. The partnership between the CBN and the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, is sure yielding the expected dividends that will guarantee enough products at affordable rates for local consumption and excess for export purposes.
From the modest pilot of 75,000 farmers in 26 states, the RIFAN CBN ABP model has now been fully established in all the states of the Federation and the FCT. With the deployment of technologies which covered farmers' enumeration, biometric capture, and GPS mapping of farms, all embedded to enhance the operational efficiency of the ABP, the wet season witnessed a geometric rise in beneficiaries from about 275,000 farmers have been empowered to cultivate over 200,000 hectares across all the states of the Federation and the FCT. The target acreage for this 2019-2020 was 500,000, and we hope to achieve 1 million.
In the beginning it was rough, but by the grace of Allah Almighty, we have started seeing results. Our farmers have increased their productivity, and inshallah going forward, more farmers will join the kitty. The Central Bank of Nigeria has been very supportive. The RIFAN has been very supportive.
What you see here is just 4 pyramids. I mean, you see in excess of 300,000 bags here. You can see trucks also carrying the commodity. For the dry season, 1 million hectares, we're looking at over 5 million metric tons of rice paddy. And what we've advised the banks and the various associations that we finance or we fund is that we no longer take payment in currency. So we take the produce. So it's easier for the farmers to repay.
Why we call it special dry season is we are going to achieve 2 dry season cropping in one dry season calendar. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria deliberately and formally to have 2 dry seasons under one single dry season until this time around under the Ankabaraz program of Central Bank of Nigeria. Why we decided to initiate the 2 dry seasons is because of what the Central Bank has decided to come up with so that the challenges we are facing of the food security in the country will be solved. Because under the dry season, if you cultivate twice, you will be able to achieve at least between 4 to 5 million metric tons of rice under the 2 cropping seasons.
Beyond rice, the CBN Commodity Association window has been expanded to cover more commodities such as maize, cassava, sorghum, soybean, and ginger, among others. The CBN believes that all these efforts will contribute to Nigeria's national aggregates and galvanize the country's drive to economic diversification. Indeed, the return of the pyramids indicate that good times are here again for the agricultural sector, particularly as the nation vigorously pursues the alternatives to diversifying Nigeria's revenue base. More importantly, it will ensure that we achieve the national goal of producing what we eat and eating what we produce.
We also bring you additional comments from the media interaction of representatives and key players at the recent flag-off of the 2020 input distribution to rice farmers and loan recovery drive under the Refund CBN Ankabaraz program in Minna, Niger State.
So this is very important. We're flagging off the national dry season farming on rice today in Niger State because Niger State has the largest land. I want to believe we're the #1 producers of rice, but the data will show. The target is to see that Niger State alone can produce up to 2 million metric tons of rice, and I think we can achieve it. Out of the 7 million tons Nigeria requires per annum, I believe Nigeria can do up to 2 million metric tons. We have almost 9 million hectares of land. At the moment, we're doing less than 300,000 hectares of land. It is my hope and belief that very soon we'll hit 1 million hectares of land for rice production. So this is a significant improvement and increase in our production level. So this is a very important event, and we're all excited and happy about it.
It's significant today because Niger State has arable land to be able to feed the entire country. So this dry season program is going to be the largest this country have ever witnessed, and it's going to be in 2 cycles. We're going to start one in November, and it's going to end in February, and another one in March, and it's going to end before the rain comes out. We're taking this ambitious dry season for one particular purpose. If you recall, there was a bit of flood which affected supply. But this 1 million hectares we're going to do in this dry season is going to ensure that there's enough supply and enough to be able to be put in the silos to ensure that we have enough food security for rice and other commodities that the central bank is promoting through the various associations in its Ankabaraz program.
Can you quantify what we've made from this very season that just ended?
Okay, what you see here is just 4 pyramids. I mean, you see in excess of 300,000 bags here. You can see trucks also carrying the commodity. For the dry season, 1 million hectares, we're looking at over 5 million metric tons of rice paddy. And what we've advised the banks and the various associations that we finance or we fund is that we no longer take payment in currency. So we take the produce. so it's easier for the farmers to repay. So we take this produce, we keep it in silos, and we use it to be able to stabilize prices in the market. We'll release it as at when due. For 2020 dry season, that's the flag off. If you notice, you can see that map there with the land. We're going to be doing almost 500,000 hectares in Niger State alone, and in places like Zamfara, Sokoto, there will be also mini flag offs where there are water bodies. We're encouraging farmers to come in, and take advantage of the Ankabaraz program, which I mean is one of the flagship programs of President Muhammadu Buhari to embark on the farming for the dry season.
There is panic here and there in Nigeria that was deliberately instituted, that there is no rice in Nigeria. And we that are farmers, we knew that we have more than enough rice to consume in Nigeria and even to export to our African neighboring countries. That is why we portray this Egyptian pyramid and also Nigerian pyramid. You can see yourself. The paddy that you see here is just a fraction of what we cultivate in Niger State. We have over 100 times of this in Niger State alone, and we have the same in Cross River, in Ebonyi, in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Kano, in Kaduna, in Niger, in Kogi, in Kwara, in Ekiti, in virtually everywhere across the country.
But so much about the availability, the cost is still so high.
You have heard me in my speech that we have a strategic partnership with the central bank where we are trying to achieve 3 A's. The availability, the first A, the accessibility, the second A, and then the affordability of the third A. And that plan is a strategy that we don't want to unveil here, but God willing, Nigerians will be able to afford to get rice at the door of their houses at an affordable price.
The Consumer Price Index report, recently released by the National Bureau of Statistics, puts Nigeria's inflation rate at 14.89% year-on-year in November. That's 0.66 percentage points higher than the rate recorded in October. A rise in inflation has been predicted as the effects of the COVID-19 lockdown, protests, and insecurity in the country are yet to fade away. In the month under review, the highest increases were recorded in the prices of air and road transport, medical services, pharmaceutical products, vehicle and equipment maintenance, personal grooming, and among others. Earlier, I had a chat with economist, a member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, and the MD/CEO Financial Derivatives Company Limited, Bismarck Rewane, on inflation trend in Nigeria. All right, I'm going to take you now to the issue of inflation. Yes. The common man in Nigeria believes that when the prices of goods and services go up, it never comes down in Nigeria. And one begins to wonder, is there any economic theory that explains that situation?
Well, that is not true. First of all, inflation measures the rate of increase in prices. But the rate of inflation in Nigeria as of October, NSAS was October 2021. In October, we saw an increase of 14.32% in headline inflation. In other words, the basket of goods you bought in October 2019 and the basket of goods you bought in October 2020, the 2020 basket was 14.5% more expensive than what it was in 2019. But let's go back. October 2019, there was no, there was no COVID.
Yeah.
Even if it had started, it was in China. So there was no lockdown, there was no NSAS, so too many aberrational and intervening issues had come up. So the price of a bag of rice in October 2019 was 18,000 naira. The price of a bag of rice in October 2020 is 31,000 naira. The price of onions between 2019 and 2020 has gone up by over 100%. The price of bread, flour that I use in baking bread, was 8,500 naira a bag in October 2019. Today it is 13,500. And guess what? It's going to get higher. The naira in 2019, October, was trading at 362, 363 in the parallel market. Today, it is trading at 480 naira.
So what can be done to rein in inflation in Nigeria?
No, inflation has many components. It has many components. But the most important thing is that when inflation is increasing, you stoke it more when you reduce interest rates. Because the marginal propensity to save is a function of interest rates. The more you save, the less you consume. Let me explain it. If you have 100 naira and I'm paying you 10% interest, you are likely to say I will save 20 naira because 10% on 20 naira will give me 2 naira. But if I now tell you that the rate of interest on your savings is now 2%, if you have 100 naira, to get that 2 naira on your 100, 20 naira on your 100 naira, you would have to have 2,000 naira to save. So what do? It's better for you to go and buy flour. It's better for you to go and buy something else to prevent the price from going up. So your demand for goods will increase. The price of the goods will increase. So that is why you cannot have a situation where your inflation rate is 14.32 and you are paying people treasury bill interest rates at 2%. It's a recipe for economic chaos. So we have to address that. Then the other things that you need to do, some other adjustments. Every central bank is fully aware of that. And I'm sure in the fullness of time, they will do that which is needful. We're still dependent on oil. We still had a benchmark price. We still had reserves of $60 billion. We had excess crude account of $22 billion. That was not too long ago. That was under General Obasanjo. So, it's possible. And I think it will be done. No question about it. The government is a government of the people. So, they will do that which is required with people. But first of all, you have to understand it and believe it. Part of the role of why the president has advisors is to get advice from different sources, to marry it with the security situation in the country so that you don't want to create additional problems because people are already on edge. So all of that put together, but the key is that this economy will take off when you and I are willing to invest in the economy. The only reason why you and I will invest in the economy is if we are confident that our investment will give us a return. The only time we will be confident is when what people say and what they do are consistent. If you say one thing and do the other, confidence erodes. If you say one thing and do what you have said, confidence will be restored. Once confidence is restored and enhanced, investment will increase. Once we increase our investment, increase our savings, jobs will be created. If jobs are created and people are employed, right now, over 48% of the people are unemployed or underemployed. If that number reduces, the amount of protests you have will reduce. Don't forget, NSAS was a revolt, an event. But before NSAS, there was already a process of resentment. There was a revolution. A revolution is a process. A revolution in the sense that the people were asking questions. They were demanding better governance. They were demanding answers to their questions. And when they didn't get it, it erupted. Now it has calmed down. But we need to answer those questions. When we start answering those questions, which is what I think the government is doing, trying to find answers and communicate the answers to the people, then the temperature will reduce and people have work, So the good intentions will be translated into tangible results, and people will be happy.
Now we have come to the end of today's package from the CBN. Remember to log on to the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria at www.cbn.gov.ng for further information. Reach out to its contact center on the telephone number provided below for any complaints that you may have. We'd like to have your comments and contributions sent to us via the email address from the cbn@gmail.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms for updates and a repeat broadcast of the program. Join us again next week. I'm William Dada. Stay safe and bye for now.